Greetings and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin. I'm joined as ever by the Batman to my Robin. It's Mr. Matt Turner. Mr. Matt Turner, how are you, good sir?
Rob Goodwin, I am phenomenal as always. Always great chatting with you. I know me and you both had a very interesting Saturday, a very fun-filled Saturday. Obviously, I want to get into you with pro wrestling, Noah, and myself wrestling at a Comic-Con in the Poconos, and I'm super excited to preview this out of nowhere show of the year show that looks like we have coming up on Saturday. But my man, I just kind of unfortunately got to start this episode off on a little bit of a down note. As you know, and some of our long-time listeners of this show know, I am a massive Star Wars fan. And unfortunately, we had two passings in the the Star Wars universe, all in the same day. We had the legendary voice of arguably the greatest villain in cinema history, Darth Vader, one Mr. James Earl Jones, had passed away at the age of 93 years old. And 93, what an incredible run. And then as far as the Star Wars comics go, John Cassaday, who was the artist of the Star Wars comics once Disney acquired Marvel and they acquired Star Wars, they redid the Star Wars comic books. So John Cassaday was the artist on a lot of those Star Wars comics. I think he did the first 16 or 17 issues of the main book, and he was also very big into the X-Men run back in the early 2000s. Unfortunately, he didn't make it to 93. He was only 53. That came at me at a surprise. Mark Waid, who is one of the greatest writers of the modern era, he posted something on John Cassaday. I was thinking to myself, that can't be John Cassaday. He's only maybe about 10 years older than me. But John Cassaday, just a phenomenal artist. And again, I don't know if we have any Star Wars fans on here. If anybody that reads the comics or hasn't, if you just Google Star Wars John Cassaday, his like Darth Vader looks exactly like Darth Vader. His Luke Skywalker looks exactly like Luke Skywalker. Just an unbelievable artist that just passed away too young. But Darth Vader, the legendary voice, or James Earl Jones, excuse me, the legendary voice of one Darth Vader, passed away at 93 years old. But from what I understand, Robin, I don't know if you heard this or not, when I understand that Disney acquired the rights to James Earl Jones' voice, like via AI. So the more these Star Wars movies that they're going to make and shows, which they're going to keep making and making and making, that it's going to go to James Earl Jones' estate. So my guess is like his great grandkids, his great grandkids are going to be multimillionaires in the next 10 years. So that's really cool that James Earl Jones can take care of his family well beyond his passing.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I know that from a wrestling standpoint, that the more that WWE do with Bray Wyatt's character, that's going to JoJo and his children. So I'm always a big fan of people being honoured in the right way, and I think this is the right way for someone who is iconic as he was, and obviously again, massive thoughts and good prayers and all of those things go out to his friends and family, and obviously here on the Stardom Cast we wish him nothing but the best. Obviously Kuniaki Kobayashi died as well this week, which again seems like every podcast we do we start on these downer notes, but it's I think it's only right to pay a little bit of homage, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. I did see that earlier this week. An absolute legend when it came to the Puro scene back in the 80s and 90s. But I didn't see like what had happened. Rob, do you by chance know like what the cause of death was? Or
it was cancer. Unfortunately, I believe it was. I can't remember the exact type of cancer. I know that it was reported as one thing. And then I believe, and again, I could be wrong. Please tell me if I am wrong. The last thing I want to be doing is spreading false information. I believe that it was pancreatic. Now, I can't remember if it was pancreatic and it was reported as liver, or if it was liver and reported as something else. I can't remember, but obviously unfortunate. And again, he was another one who I believe was only in his late 50s, so it's no age at all, really. A real shame for the for Puro fans everywhere. And again, same as what I've just said, our thoughts and prayers go out to his family at at this really difficult time. Not the way I wanted to start the podcast, unfortunately, but there we are. Matt, let's pick this up a little bit. I saw someone had made some fan art of you. Please, please, please tell me more.
That was from last year's Colossal Con, where Gavin, who's a super fan, he's 6 or 7 years old. Well, his dad's a super fan. He takes his family to the shows, but this kid dresses up as like Ric Flair, Sergeant Slaughter, the Big Boss Man, like all the characters from the 80s and 90s. So that was last year that he drew the picture of me. But this past year, Rob Goodwin, and the video actually just went up on my Instagram. So I'm trying to figure out how to share it to Twitter and Facebook. But the video went up of this year, me and Andy Header doing the Hadouken, Rob Goodwin, which you got a massive pop over there in Colossal Con. But no, obviously, yes, let's at 100%. Let's pick this back up. Let's get into more happier and fun times. So, yes, myself and Andy Header, we were wrestling this past weekend at the Colossal Con over there in the Poconos at the beautiful Kalahari Resort. Probably my favorite show to do the entire year. And this is our third year doing the show. So Andy had sent me a text message, and he always dresses up for these cons, and I just do normal blue and gold stuff. Let me know what gear you want me to wrestle in, or blah 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 blah. So about 2 weeks before the show, he's like, "You want to dress up as Ken and Ryu for the show?" And I was like, "Absolutely." I was like, "What do I need to do?" And he's like, "I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it." So he's like, "I'm gonna go as Ken. You're gonna go as Ryu." So he had everything. He bought the whole gear, the gi, the headband, the whole nine. So we were all, and it was nice. It was nice and baggy, Rob. It was like I was able to cheat on the diet a little bit because I didn't. I had I had the gi on, so I was like, yeah, I'll have a beer. Usually like a week out before a show, I usually no alcohol. It's usually low carbs. So I was like, I'll cheat on the diet a little bit. What the heck, I'm wrestling in a gi, so this way, I won't look as bad. So now that was fun. I was able to move around a little bit. It wasn't like the tight, long tights that I usually wrestle in. And again, with this crowd, it's a different crowd. This isn't All Japan Budokan Hall 94 that I would absolutely love to wrestle in. They want to see characters. They want to see people dressed up as certain characters, whether it's from the comic book world, whether it's from the TV world, whether it's from the video game world. So again, you have to know your audience. So that's why I told Heather, absolutely. Found out that it wasn't going to be a straight up tag match. It was going to be a 3-way tag match dance. And a lot of the components in the match, they were all people that like to do kind of big fun spots. So we all kind of get together, and Andy's like, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Do you want to do like just a whole bunch of like crazy spots and then like take it home?" He's like, "Yeah, let's do like a 6 to 8 minute like sprint." So Andy looked at me. He's like, "Do you want to Stardom this?" I said, "Yeah, we are totally going to Stardom this because Stardom. Granted, you had your Shuris and Utamis, your 40-minute matches, but they are the kings, queens and kings of doing the real fast, awesome matches." So the match starts out. So it's 2 babyface tag teams and 1 heel tag team. And we know the heel tag team's going over at the end. So we have them jump us. They pitch us out. Everybody does dives. Now, Heather's like, "What dive do you want to do?" And I was like, "Let's do the FWC dive," which we've been doing before I even started watching Stardom. Now, the last time we did this dive is when I hurt my foot. So I was like, the heck with it. Let's do it. So I kind of joked to Andy. I said, "How funny would it be during certain points of the match that we do the Kuma Dance?" Because of you see that, and I started joking, and it popped him, and then he walked away, and I was like, "Oh, we're so doing the Kuma Dance. We're so good." So we start out, boom, right? They throw us out. We get the one dive. It's time for us to do the dive right now. Andy does the Hazuki, where he does the actual suicide dive, and I do the Kogama. I used to do the dive off the top. I'm just going to Kogama and do it from the second, just gonna be more safe. So I'm on the second, Andy's in the middle of the ring, and he's stomping on the mat to get the crowd to clap to go for the dive. So I go, "Hey, Header," and he looked at me, and I go, "Kuma." So he starts doing and nobody knew what it was, but it got a reaction. I could see. So we go and do our dives, and everybody's on the ground. I'm kind of just checking in on everybody to kayfabe, make sure everybody was okay. And Andy Header looked at me like, "You son of a bee," because I popped him, and I got him to do the Kuma dance right before he did the dive. So he wanted to start him it. So we're doing the match, and we know there's this big spot. We're going to do the Hadouken, the big fireball that they do from Street Fighter, right? And again, we came out, and I know it doesn't sound like I'm blowing smoke, but to be truthful, we came out to a massive pop. I think it's a combination of 1, we're kind of a big fish in a small pond in the Northeast indie scene. 2, we came out to the Street Fighter 2 theme, and 3, we're dressed up as Ken and Ryu. So it was all that massive pop. So I was like, "Oh, wait till we do the fireball spot. Wait till we do the double Hadouken." The heels are getting heat. They're cleaning house. So I'm on the ground and I'm selling, and I'm just starting to get ready to get up, and I hear everybody behind me in the first like 2 or 3 rows going, "Do the Hadouken, do the Hadouken," and I'm like, "Oh my god, the Hadouken's coming up next. They're gonna go nuts." Do it. So I see Andy. He's on the other side of the ring, and I point my finger up to tell him to wait. Let's milk this. Let's milk this. The heels are doing a great job getting heat. So they're getting heat. They're waiting. We're waiting for them to turn around. We start charging up the fireballs, and this place is waiting for it. We hit the Hadouken. This place goes nuts, and I'm literally still standing there doing the fireball spot, and I'm going, nobody move, let's milk this. And then we did the superplex. He hits the splash. He did the Izumi sushi. Again, it wasn't as good as Izumi's, but what is? He wind up getting it, and I think I sent you the picture of when he did it, because his girlfriend actually takes pictures. That's where they met. He takes pictures. So I said, we basically told her, like, you have to get this picture and you need to send it to Matt ASAP so we can send it over to Rob. So I thought that was really fun. We wind up losing. No big deal, but they did make mention at the pre-show meeting that they signed another year deal that we're going to go back next year to do Colossal Con. So I asked Andy, I said, you know what we should do next year? We should dress up as Stardom wrestlers. So Rob, we're going through the litany. Like, we can do Starlight Kid, we can do Izumi. We'll just like change it up to like longer tights, and we'll like, we'll do certain things. Maybe we'll do a wig, we'll do this. And I was like, we can do Kyrie, right? As a pirate. We're going through the litany of like wrestlers past, present, and future. And I was like, Shuri would be great because like I wrestle kind of Shuri style. Obviously nowhere near as good, but that shoot style, Shuri would be great. It's like, oh yeah, and she got the long tights, blah, blah. He's like, this is great. So then I text you, I was like, we're going as Stardom wrestlers next year. You immediately text me back and you're like, if you don't go as Tam, I'm going to be disappointed. And I looked at Andy. He's literally right next to me. He's like, dude, why did we not think of Tam? I said, Rob wants me to go as Tam. He's like, I'll go as Natsupoi. I was like, oh my God, can you imagine? We're going to go as Mel Tier. And he's like, what? Now we're a year out. And he's like, I'll design like long tights with Tam's thing. I'll get a blonde wig. I'll get a purple wig. He's like, I can make that staff, the glowing staff that she comes out to in the big matches. Like we're a year out and we already have the plans. Like, what theme music do we come out to? Do we come out to Tams? Do we come out to Natsuboys? I was like, do we come out to the Cosmic Angels and do the dance? And he's like, I don't know if I can dance. Like, I can't be any worse than Waka. So
that's
like,
true. You can't be any worse than Waka.
So there's a good possibility that next year for Colossal Con we might be going as Mel Tier. So
that makes me so happy.
We ran through a dozen wrestlers in our head of certain wrestlers we can go as, where Andy's like, I can do that gear. I can just make longer tights and blah, 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 blah. I was like, I literally text you and you're like, yeah, you need to go as Tier. I'm like, how did I not think of going as Mel Tier?
Mel Tier is the greatest idea because obviously you and him have to do the... I think you should lip sync to a Mel Tier song, personally. I think Andy would be well up for that. Yeah, oh my God, imagine. People would be asking for encores.
Rob's flying in, he's coming in as Soriano.
I'd be Waka. I'd just come in as Waka and just mess up everything because honestly, when it comes to dancing, I have 18 left feet. It's really quite embarrassing. But I'm glad you had a good time. I'm amazed that Mr. Hedda brought out the Izumi sushi. I cannot wait to see the pictures of Mel Tier next year. It's going to be good fun, man. I cannot wait. But obviously, I have a little story of my own. I took Miss Kirsty to her first... Miss Kirsty. I made her sound instantly like she works in some sort of...
Doctor-style slick.
Yeah, just made her sound like some sort of cabaret dancer. So I took her to wrestling. Somehow managed to persuade her to go and see the Pro Wrestling Noah UK tour in Manchester. It was great fun. Some really good matches. There was Dragonbane and Alpha Wolf versus two Progress guys whose name I really can't remember and I should. Fantastic match. Really, really, really good fun. Easily match of the night. Got to see Masaki Tamaya wrestle. Got to see Kaito Kiyomiya and Keno team up. Kirsty had a deceptively good time. I was convinced because when I took her to WWE Raw, I looked over at one point, she physically had her head in her hands. She was both that bored and that annoyed at the fact that I'd managed to get her there. She genuinely looked like she was enjoying herself. I got a couple of beers in her. And Matt, she has a new favorite wrestler.
Oh yeah, that's what you teased this when we did the alternate commentary, and I said Marufuji, and you pump faked me. I thought I got it. You had that dramatic pause and told me I was wrong.
You are wrong, unfortunately.
I've been sitting on this for 24 hours, buddy. Do tell, sir. Do tell.
Well, she'll kill me for this. So we were watching, and sure enough, there was Kid Lycos and Kid Lycos 2, against Yohei and Jack Morris. Now, those people that haven't seen Jack Morris before, he is basically chiseled out of marble. The man is a very attractive man. Now, Kirsty isn't like over the top or anything. We're just standing there. We're having a lovely time. The couple in front of us were lovely, telling Kirsty about how she should go and watch Tomohiro Ishii versus Luke Jacobs, which I have watched, and it is great. But he came out, swept out the curtain, dripping wet hair. I'm not joking, Matt. He hadn't got an 8-pack. He'd got a 15-pack. It was ridiculous. It was like Finn Balor's Scottish brother. He walked out, and Kirsty went, "Oh, I think I like wrestling now." That was it then. That's it. Because I've never felt less, as I'm poking at my... Have you ever seen that thing from Big Hero 6? Where he's just poking his big, white, fat belly with a finger. That's
Betamax.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt.
Betamax Goodwin.
As we're watching this Adonis of wrestling. But yeah, she had a good time. She was getting a bit tired towards the end because we were standing. And she was like, "Is it ending soon?" And I was like, yeah, definitely. Haven't still got 3 matches left. But yes, she enjoyed it. It's going to be interesting to see if she makes it, or how many matches she makes it to when we go to Vegas. I'd put my money on maybe 2 shows, 3 if we can get her to one night of Mania. But if we can get her to more, Matt, I would be amazed.
Well, Rob, I know you're feeling a little down about yourself there about a minute ago, but I'm going to say something. I'm going to bring you back up because that's just what a good friend does, my friend. So you had texted me just literally on Saturday, just as I was coming home from the gym. Picture you and Kirsty leaving to go to Pro Wrestling Noah. You were sporting the Stardom Cash shirts, and I think I even texted you back. I was like, "Oh, when did we hire models to show off our stuff?" So we're texting back and forth, and Amber came walking into the room. And I was like, and she's like, "What are you laughing at?" And I showed the picture. And I've seen pictures of your girlfriend before. And I tried really hard yesterday on the alternate commentary. And folks, you will see it. She walked into the room. I was trying to get her on camera. Rob even tried to fish her in, and it still wouldn't work. So again, very much like my wife. Yeah, very much like my wife. They're not like us. We're hams for the camera. We're all about more. We're like more airtime, more TV time.
Yep.
But so I've seen a couple pictures of her, and Amber, it's like I showed her the picture, and she's like, "Oh, Rob's girlfriend's very pretty." And I looked over at Amber and I go, "Look at Rob. Look at Rob's an Adonis. You think he's going to be dating anybody less than an A+? Like, what did you expect from this man? Look how handsome he looks." She's like, "There is so many reasons." And she looked at me, rolled her eyes. She said, "There's so many reasons why you guys get along so well." I said, "Exactly." I said, "Same thing with you." I said, "Look at me." I said, "Do you think I'm going to be marrying somebody that's no less than an A+?" So Rob's the same thing. We have high standards here on the Stardom Cast.
Absolutely. She is far too good for me. I don't know how it's happened, but I'm not complaining about it.
Dude. I'm the same way.
Anyway, we've managed to blag for quite a lot of time considering we've only got one show to talk about today. Today, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to be doing is we've recorded, I am just going to let you into a little bit of a production note because we've recorded a day earlier, so we're recording this on Tuesday. Releases to the free feed on Friday, it'll release to Patreon as normal on Thursday. The chances are, I am just going to get this out now, the chances are that either tonight or tomorrow something big is going to happen. Okay? And I'm basing this on the fact that every time we do something like this, a big news story drops. A la Mayu Iwatani retiring from 5-star Grand Prix competition literally 20 minutes after we stopped recording last week. Like, physically 20 minutes. So keep your eyes on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever you get your news, thestardomcast.com, because you can guarantee that something huge will drop because we've recorded early, and it always happens. But today, we're actually just going to go through the Korakuen Hall show that saw the preview tag for Micah versus Tam and the high-speed title match between Meisera and Xena. And we're going to preview the full cards for both New Blood 14, which is coming up on Friday, and Namba Grand Fight as well from Edion Arena Osaka. That pay-per-view is live on Saturday, the 14th of September. And as we alluded to at the start of the podcast, it is a randomly absolutely stacked card. With literally no build. Like, we are getting some fantastic matches that have just not been alluded to at all in the interim, and I'm all here for it. I don't care. I'm getting Saya Kamatari versus Mina Shirakawa, like, on no build whatsoever, and I don't care. It's going to be great.
I don't know if you noticed that Mina mentioned on her Twitter that that's free on YouTube. So literally the best match on the greatest Stardom show ever, the rematch, you're getting it free, which I think is genius, Rob. It really is a great way to hook you in for this show. But yeah, that match is free on YouTube, buddy, folks. Saya versus Mina.
Which is wild, which is absolutely wild. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about that. There isn't a great deal of news currently, touch wood, to talk about, but I just want to go through just a couple of things before we head into that Korakuen Hall review. But before we get into any of that, Mr. Turner, what is coming up for our lovely patrons over at patreon.com/StardomCast this week?
Rob Goodwin, fantastic friends and family of the Stardom Cast. I always say card subject to change, and my recording schedule as far as the Stardom Cast Extra was card subject to change. Rob and I, as per usual, our one episode went too long, so we had to delay the alternate commentary. Obviously, that's up. Andy Header had a work thing. That got delayed, and then Allison Danger, I was like, okay, I'm 0 for 2 on recording with guests. So I texted the great Allison Danger 24 hours before we were supposed to record. She said, I'm good to go. That morning, she woke up with COVID. So that got pushed back. But regardless, eventually the Allison interview will be probably about a week or two from, I was supposed to record with her on Friday. I think in 2 weeks I'm supposed to record with her. But however, what is on the Patreon? Alternate commentary that we just released. High-speed tag team wrestling at its finest as Mai Sarah returns to Stardom to team with Starlight Kid to take on the team of Mai Saruga versus Zumi. Myself and Rob Goen, we just recorded that just the other day, and we were out of breath calling that action back. And then next week, our alternate commentary to keep up High Speed Month will be Azumi and Starlight Kid for the High Speed Championship from, I believe it was 2020, Rob?
It was indeed.
Yes, so it will be Azumi and Starlight Kid for the High Speed Championship 4 years ago. And then matches with Matt did get released. Micah and Suzu Suzuki for the vacant World of Stardom Championship. And then also sometime in the next week or so, myself and Andy had our tag team breakdown. FWC defending the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Championships versus Micah and Himika. That is the tag team breakdown. And plus, we have loads of other stuff coming in the next week or so. So, yes, a lot of really great stuff on there, past, present, and future, my friend.
And a full schedule will be released on Sunday as well. Hopefully that's going to become a regular thing on all socials, so you'll be able to see what is coming up on both the free feed and on the Patreon feed, hoping to get that a little bit more streamlined over the next couple of weeks, just so it's easier for you guys to see what we have got going on over the week. Just before, like I say, we talk about the Korakuen Hall show, just a couple of things to talk about. First things first is that Saori Anou will be defending the Sendai Girls World Championship in Sendai against Mika Iwata in a rematch from their Korakuen Hall match. This will be on the 13th of September, so this Friday. It will air on Wrestle Universe, so that is something that is absolutely worth checking out. It is live on Wrestle Universe, so I do actively encourage you to go and check that out. And if their previous two matches, Matt, are anything to go by, I imagine that will be a tasty, tasty matchup.
Yeah, their first two were really, really good. And considering the fact this is pretty much the rubber match. Mika Wada won the first one, Saori Anou won the rematch, and this is the third one. My guess would be that Mika Wada wins back the Sendai Girls Championship. That would be my pick there, sir.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. Speaking of wrestlers going elsewhere, Saya Ida has wrestled, I believe, today, actually on the 10th in Shinjuku Face as part of PP Tokyo's 5th anniversary show. She has teamed on their road to victory against Ryo Mizunami, against Chanyota and Zones. That is free on YouTube. So if you get a chance, go and check that out. I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but I will endeavor to do that over the next couple of days. Matt, I don't suppose that you have seen this, have you?
I have not watched it, but obviously I will. Huge fans of Saida. I mean, really, who isn't? Who isn't? Especially the fact that her stock rose up quite a bit coming out this 5-star Grand Prix. But and I did not know. I didn't know how to watch it. Obviously, I get my Stardom news from you, Rob Goodwin, the number one news source in all of Stardom. So now that I know that I can watch it on YouTube, I may watch that after I finish the last few matches of the Marigold show that just dropped today.
Yes, I will be hopefully catching up on that very, very shortly as well. Speaking of wrestlers, we talked to you a couple of weeks ago about how Aya Sakura, or Aya Sakura, as she's known. I don't know what, my mouth just stopped working then as I tried to say Aya and it just came out as Ara. So Aya Sakura is currently taking part in the Pro Wrestling Wave Tag Team Tournament called the Dual Shock Tournament. Her first match from the 1st of September from Shinkiba First Ring, that has just been uploaded to Stardom World. So again, really, really good to see that when Stardom wrestlers are wrestling outside of Stardom, those matches are going up on Stardom World. I know that we had to wait a little bit longer for the Sendai Girls ones because obviously there is, stuff to do with Wrestle Universe and things like that. But it makes following these wrestlers and looking at their exploits outside of Stardom, it makes it so much easier, Matt. And also it adds to the quality that you're getting for such a small price ultimately, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, majority of Mina Shirakawa's matches over here in the States have popped up over on Stardom World. I don't think the last two, and I don't think her 2 matches in Ring of Honor are there just yet, but the 6-woman tag from Ring of Honor, Super Card of Honor from Philly Mania, that went up a few months ago. So it's really, really cool that you'll log onto Stardom World to go watch a show and you'll be like, oh, there's this match and there's that match, and the Catch the Wave was up there. So I think that's really, really some awesome stuff that Stardom is getting some more content on Stardom World. They're really updating a lot of fantastic stuff when it comes to Stardom World. We've seen more live streaming than we ever have, especially last month, where every single 5-star Grand Prix show we were able to watch live and in living color. If you were crazy enough to get up early for each and every show, which mean you we had a pretty good batting average. But yeah, again, for less than $7 American, you're getting not only the fantastic back catalog of everything from Stardom, or not everything, but a majority of everything from Stardom, but you're getting the current shows, and then when these Stardom wrestlers venture off to a different area, whether it's the United States, whether it's the UK, whether it's Momo Kogom, CMLL, whether it's anything like that, we're able to watch all that, and it makes it so much easier to follow these Stardom wrestlers that you really only need to subscribe to one subscription, or one service at Stardom World.
Yeah, it's really, really improved, and it's really helped with things like Saya Kamatani's run in the Catch the Wave tournament. Same with Rani Yagami as well, who I feel like really, really has benefited from that little excursion as well. I don't know if we'll see, for example, Hanako's matches going up on Stardom World from her excursion. That'll be really interesting to see. But again, I'm not massively au fait with how streaming laws and television deals and things like that come into play. So maybe not. I know that at least one of them is on YouTube. I know the MLW match is on YouTube. All the others, maybe we will see them spring up on Stardom World in the near future. We did have a press conference today, and in typically weird and unhinged fashion. We did have a hilarious moment to talk about. I must admit, Matt, for the majority of this press conference, and I must admit, I did watch it on a 2x speed, just for time's sake. I thought we were getting a relatively normal press conference. And I don't want to spoil too much because we're going to be previewing that card right at the end of the show. But we got to the main event, which we had the card announced for New Blood, which I'll be talking about in a moment, and we've had the card fully announced for Namba Grand Fight as well. But in the main event, which we all know now as it's been confirmed is going to be Tam versus Micah for the red belt, they had a wine drinking competition. I thought we were going to get a relatively normal one, and then a bottle of wine was produced. Matt Turner, not since Newcastle were beaten 5-0 by Manchester City, have I seen such a drubbing in a competition as Micah annihilating Tam Nakano in downing a glass of wine. Similarly, Tam downed that glass of wine like she'd never tasted wine before, because the face she made and the apology that she gave to Taro Okada at the end was embarrassing. Embarrassing, Matt Turner.
So you're telling me that Mike is now the favorite going into this match?
I tell you what, if this was the King of Pro Wrestling belt and it was a wine drinking match, it will be over. It would already be. Ref's thrown it out. The X has been thrown up. Ref's called it.
We're done. Yeah, I thought it was really, and I made mention of this on Twitter. I know we talked about this when we did our Philly Mania review. We were able to sneak in a Stardom cast beer into our autograph session, and we gave it to Micah. And she looked at me and she said in like perfect English, she goes, "Oh, you guys know me very well," which I thought was absolutely hilarious. But yeah, I remember when they were doing something with the a couple years ago with Donald Del Mundo on one of these like morning talk shows over in Japan. The question was asked out of all the members of DDM, and this is when it was like Shuri, Julia, Tekla, Natsupoi, like 18 members. They said, "Who is the biggest drinker of Donald Del Mundo?" And everybody turned around and said at the same time, Micah. So clearly, Micah knows how to handle her booze. Again, fingers crossed, maybe for Las Vegas Mania next year, we can try to get Micah out to a bar and me and you can try to outdrink her. Probably not the smartest idea, but I thought that was funny. You made mention about the press conferences. It really seems like the press conferences have toned down quite a bit, like as far as the wackiness after Rossi Ogawa left. And I'll say this: you can like the booking, not like the booking. Some people still prefer Rossi. Some people like what Taro Okada is doing. And again, it's subjective, but I will say this: as far as the booking goes, when it comes to press conferences, Rossi Ogawa is definitely the best booker because we don't have all we had was a wine drinking contest. There was no spaghetti being thrown, no Mayu tripping over things, no shoot headbutts,
no.
Yeah, with Julian Tam, like Stardom, somebody bleeds in that company like once every 5 or 6 years, and they did it with the Julia Tam press conference. So, but anywho, and I'm obviously joking. Yeah, I thought that was really, really funny how and I like these press conferences that they do. It's very MMA style where it makes these matches feel bigger, not just in style, but when Marigold does it or any of these Japanese companies do it, or from time to time when they do it over here in the States. They don't do it as much. I really think that they should because it gives that authentic feel. And considering the fact of how loaded this card is, and I think that the last picture that they took was basically what I'm calling a double main event of Micah and Tam and Hazuki versus Natsupoi. Again, considering the fact that halfway through the 5-star Grand Prix, we were like, this is going to be the 2 main event matches and Ryogoku. Right? These are the 2 biggest matches you can have. This is what me and you thought we were getting in December. They're like, you're getting it, but you're getting it 2 weeks after the 5-star Grand Prix. And we're like, all right, fine, no problem. But yeah, I thought that was really, really funny how Micah just downed the glass of wine. And Tam thought that maybe somebody poisoned her drink because the slow sips that she took on this drink was kind of offensive, considering the fact that I'm the leader of the Tam Road fan club. But regardless, fun stuff, interesting stuff. I like these press conferences. And yeah, this card literally out of nowhere was like, holy geez, we have an action-packed, loaded card. And I know they're running like a big venue in October for their big their pay-per-view in October. So it's just like, if this is what we're getting in September, what are we getting in October? What are we getting at Ryogoku? What are we getting for their matches at the Tokyo Dome? What are we getting for a historic crossover? because clearly you wouldn't be going somewhere, you wouldn't be giving these matches if you don't have something just as good, if not better, for your bigger venues. Regardless, my friend, I'm all for it. And the press conference was really, really fun. I just thought it was funny because wine is a drink that you don't slam, Rob. It's not a shot. It's not a beer. The fact that Micah like shotgunned that glass of wine, I thought was really, really, and stared a hole through Tam while she was doing it. And I was like, oh man, I'm so excited for this show on Saturday.
Yeah, the show itself is going to be really, really good. We haven't got pay-per-view purchase information yet. That's coming out very, very soon. And Matt, of course, you forgot two of the most iconic moments in press conference history, and that was the swear off between Tekla and Natsupoi, which just came out of absolutely nowhere. And then, of course, who could forget the tug of war? And also, you've got when Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May were just tied together. I still, and this was months and months and months ago, I still do not understand why that happened. Absolutely unhinged. I can honestly say that these have definitely calmed down, but this did make me laugh. The pay-per-view that you were talking about, October the 5th, Nagoya Golden Fight, that's in Aichi Dolphins Arena. It is worth pointing out that Nagoya is, of course, Tam Nakano's hometown. So make of that what you will. We'll be talking about our preview for that a little bit later on. That press conference also gave us the full card for New Blood 14. This is going to be the first time that Stardom have run a New Blood event in Aichi. It's going to emanate from the Chonichi Hall. We have got, in no particular order, the Cosmic Angels team of Tam Nakano and Sayaka Kurora taking on Micah and Rian. So in lieu of title matches, they have put a preview tag on there for the Red Belt match the following day. Konami versus Rani Yagami in singles action. Wingori team of Hanan and Sayaida versus the EXV team of Hanako and Waka Tsukiyama. The Neo Genesis team of Starlight Kid and Miyu Amasaki will be taking on the God's Eye team of Tomoka Inaba and Hina. And then the Cosmic Angels team of Aya Sakura and Yuna Mizumori are going to be taking on the New Blood Tag Team Champions in non-title action, Rina and Azusa Inaba. Obviously, Aya Sakura is pretty much cemented as the next challenger to Rina's Future of Stardom belt. And what surprised me, Matt, was I was convinced that Aya Sakura had already had a shot at Rina's belt. But no, if she does have this title shot, it will be her first chance at the Future of Stardom belt. So for all this time, and we were like, it's got to be Hina because there's nobody else. It turns out there is someone else, and her name's Aya Sakura.
Yeah, well, how about that? They did a good job building it up on this Corkin show that we're going to talk about. And yeah, now that you think about it, a lot of those non-tournament tag matches, Rina and Aya Sakura were kind of in the ring a little bit. So, and they did a great job building Aya Sakura up in those matches. So maybe that's the way they're going with it, or maybe they're just going to keep padding Rina's reign. Regardless, yeah, really interesting stuff here. That New Blood card looks fantastic, and I believe that is going to be streamed on Stardom. I don't know about anything on YouTube. I know the first handful of New Blood shows were exclusive to YouTube, but I think this one is going to be on Stardom World. But a nice 1-2 punch this weekend from Stardom. A loaded New Blood show, and then again, a fantastic pay-per-view we have coming up this Saturday.
Are you slightly disappointed in the fact that we don't have any title matches on this show? Or are you very much of the opinion of, do you know what? Yes, we haven't got that, but we've also got Micah, we've got Tam, we've got both the Inaba sisters, we've got Konami on the card as well. What are your thoughts on that?
Considering the fact they only do these New Blood shows every so often, I think the belt should be on the line. Or they should at least try to, if they can get Azusa in, they should defend them on some of these Stardom shows. Not only that, but majority of these Stardom shows that are on Stardom World, they put the first match on YouTube for free. So why wouldn't you do like Arena and Azusa Inaba versus maybe Hanako and Waka, or maybe Aya and Sayaka? You can do something like that, but they definitely need to be defending these belts more. I actually forgot when you were running down the card. I'm like, who's the tag champs again? I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. because there hasn't been a show in a while. So again, you have these belts, use them. Obviously, you're bringing Azusa and Tomoka in quite a bit. Again, fingers crossed. Hopefully, if they're not signing on the dotted line, hopefully it's sooner than later that they get. Obviously, we want Tomoka to sign, but Azusa is almost as good as Tomoka, which is saying a lot. So, yeah, again, you have Tam, you have Micah. The card looks really, really good. It's going to be another fun show, kind of an appetizer before the big pay-per-view on Saturday. But again, it's a new blood show. It's not like you have them all the time. They should have put a title match on there. Am I upset about it? No, I'm not, and I'm okay, Rob. I'm okay, really.
Just so that you know, it was previously announced that New Blood 13 wouldn't be on YouTube, or it was announced that it was only going to be on Stardom World, and then it did end up airing on YouTube. All of them, I believe, with the exception of one, have aired on YouTube. I've just gone back and had a look on the Stardom live streams, and all of them, certainly up until before Dream Queendom, have aired live onto New Blood 9, and that aired live. New Blood 8 aired live. So it's looking very likely that Stardom will air it live on their YouTube channel. It is going to be airing live on Stardom World. I would be surprised if it doesn't air on YouTube, but that's by the by. It looks like a solid card. I'm very impressed that we have got that preview match for the Red Belt on there. I would think that this was the perfect opportunity to have Aya Sakura versus Rina, or like you said, Matt, we've been able to get both the Inaba sisters, Azusa and Inaba, as one half of the New Blood tag champions, who haven't defended the belts as of yet. Why not have them defending the belts against Aya Sakura and Yuna Mizumori here? Why not make that a title match? It doesn't really hinder or hurt anyone, but that's by the by. Again, I think it's a solid enough match. Hanan and Sayarida versus Hanako and Waka Tsukiyama, I think, would be a good match. But for me, Neo Genesis, Starlight Kid and Miyu Amasaki versus Tomoka Inaba and Hina, very excited for that. Very, very excited for that. Right, let's talk about this Korakuen Hall show, which has been the only show, interestingly enough, between the 5-star Grand Prix final and the brand new pay-per-view on Saturday. So it's been quite nice in a way to be able to decompress from the sort of very condensed 5-star schedule, which again, I must admit I was a fan of the fact that we just had block matches and it was done in a short period of time. It felt very intense, but it also made the tournament feel very, very exciting. However, as we come off that, we've got our show from Korakuen, which aired on the 8th of September live on Stardom World. 1,022 people in attendance, making it the third 1,000 plus crowd in a row for Stardom at Korakuen Hall, meaning that the last time they didn't draw 1,000 people was back at the start of July. So I think that's a really, really good indication, Matt, of where Stardom are. When you think really that this card, yes, it had a high-speed title match, and yes, it had the Wonder Belt as well, but ultimately it wasn't a hugely stacked card. You know, we've seen better Korakuens, but I think coming off the heat of the 5-star Grand Prix, I think with the promise as well of maybe Hazuki getting to challenge for that belt once more, and maybe even the intrigue around Tam and Micah with, you know, okay, we're not waiting till Dream Queen and we're going straight into this. This is the only time we're seeing part of the build. The return of Mina Shirakawa, the return of Hanako, maybe all of that sort of convalesced to create excitement, because I must admit, this Korakuen Hall crowd were molten hot for the vast majority of this card.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. As far as like the draw goes, we knew they were running Korakuen Hall was gonna be their first show after the 5 stars. So you figured, how are they going to load it up? How are they going to build for their big shows coming up in the fall? And again, it was a solid show. Again, it started. All these wrestlers are fantastic, but again, it's Korakuen. We always say Korakuen should get something special. The high speed championship match was special. The return of Mina Shirakawa was special. The, as you call it, the Pokey evolution of Hanako looked completely different. She looked fantastic. That was pretty special as well. But again, it's a Korakuen Hall show, and there really wasn't too much to it. Again, it was a solid show. We're going to go through it. but you're probably like, well, how do they draw over 1,000 people? You're absolutely right. Coming off the heat of the 5-star, coming off the return of Mina Shirakawa, the fact that we have a high-speed championship match that was built up pretty well during the 5-star Grand Prix, the fact that we have a number one contenders match for the Wonder of Stardom Championship, and the fact that yes, we're going to have a preview match of Tam Nakano and the winner of the clean sweep winner of the 5-star Grand Prix. And Mike, you put all that together, and you get well over 1,000 people. And yeah, you're absolutely right. They were molten hot here. And again, these Stardom shows, majority of them, the last few months or so, these shows, not only are they jam packed, not only are they fantastic, but the crowd's really, really adding a lot more to the shows that just make these shows so much more special.
So we started before any of the matches, and I will read through the results in a moment. We started with the presentation for the 5-star Grand Prix awards. The awards were announced ahead of time, as was the fact that they would be presented by New Japan President Hiroshi Tanahashi. Just to recap, we did go through this on the Marigold Standard when it was announced, but the awards the Skill Award went to Starlight Kid, the Fighting Spirit Award to Izumi, the Special Achievement Award to Hanan, and then you had 4 best matches as well, one from each of the blocks. Red Stars A went to Maika versus Hazuki. Red Stars B went to Mayu Iwatani versus Momo Watanabe. Blue Stars A went to Saori Anou versus Starlight Kid. Saori Anou wasn't on this card as she was a part of the Oz Academy Battle Big Bonus 2024 Fukuoka show, so she wasn't able to take her trophy, so Starlight Kid accepted it on her behalf. And we had Suzu Suzuki versus Tekla from Blue Stars B. It was a nice little ceremony. Momo Watanabe wanted absolutely nothing to do with it, which made it really funny when Mayu Iwatani is placing the trophy in between them and pointing at it. We also had Saya Kamatani doing her now signature taunt with the tongue out, getting Hiroshi Tanahashi to do it as well. I mean, what a photogenic man for a start, but what a pose, Matt Turner. Is this the heel turn to hate that we've all been dreading? Hiroshi Tanahashi to hate confirmed?
You have a point there, but this is to make Saya Kamatani even a bigger babyface. Hiroshi Tanahashi, other than maybe Antonio Inoki, is probably the most respected babyface in the history of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, Saya Kamatani is one of the most over baby faces, whether they know it or not.
The most over baby face heel.
Yeah. I just thought that was funny how she tried to get heat off Tanahashi, and Tanahashi's like, no, I'll do your taunt. That's pretty cool. And I thought this was really cool. Again, Hiroshi Tanahashi, one of the most respected wrestlers in the history of not just New Japan, but Japanese wrestling. I mean, what he did for that company in the early 2000s, keeping it afloat. And then once Okada, Naito, Omega, all those guys started coming over and getting over, really, it was a really big boom for New Japan back, really from 2012 up until when COVID hit. So I think it meant a lot more to have not only Tanahashi there, but to give the awards and to do the pictures. And it just really goes to show, like, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I don't care that, like, if you have Mayu in there or Sai in there, you have all these great wrestlers and you're getting your photo taken with Hiroshi Tanahashi, right? Again, one of the most respected wrestlers ever. And again, one of the greatest pure baby faces I've ever seen in wrestling. And the fact that Momo Watanabe was keeping so true to her heel character, she's like, no, I don't want this. Not only not this photo with Hiroshi Tanahashi, but with Mayu. Like, it would have been like something that her and Mayu can look back on 10, 15, 20 years from now, but like, wow, we had like one of the best matches in the 5-star in this building, and here's our cool picture with Hiroshi Tanahashi. And like Momo Watanabe was like, no, I'm sticking to my heel character, which I thought was funny. Mayu even cut a nice little quick promo where she put over Momo Watanabe, like, hey, let's keep raising the stakes of Stardom. I thought that was great, and Momo could care less, which was just like, oh man, she couldn't break character for 2 seconds to get the photo. But I get it, she's committed. Tekla cut a promo that was funny and entertaining that we cannot repeat here. I thought that was done pretty well. And again, the Hiroshi Tanahashi, you think that he's turning heel going to hate? I think he's just making Saya Kamatani more of a baby face than she already is. But again, really cool ceremony. I like how they did this in Korakuen Hall. Again, Korakuen Hall has seen more 5-star shows than any other building in Stardom's history. It made it feel special and even bigger that you had the legendary Go Ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi, handing out the awards. Yeah, really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, I like the fact that it is just cementing that relationship between Stardom and New Japan. Obviously, it was announced a couple of months back now that Stardom are an official subsidiary of New Japan. So really having him presenting them really did feel, like a solidification of that partnership, or of that ownership, should I say. Let's run through these results then. So in a singles match, Starlight Kid defeated Rian with the Black Tiger leg killer in 7 minutes and 18 seconds. Tag team match saw a shock win for the Cosmic Angels team of Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurora. Just Aya Sakura's second tag team win of the year, by the way. Defeating the Hate team of Rina and Ruaka. Aya Sakura pinning the future of Stardom champion Rina with a schoolboy in 7 minutes and 26 seconds. Three-way match, Mina Shirakawa, the returning Mina Shirakawa, defeated Saya Ida and Rani Yagami in a three-way match with a glamorous driver Mina in 11 minutes and 39 seconds. In a six-woman tag match, the Neo Genesis team of Azumi, Suzu Suzuki, and Miyu Amasaki defeated the Stars team of Mai Iwatani, Koguma, and Momokogo when Suzu Suzuki pinned Momo with the tequila shot in 8 minutes and 36 seconds. 8-woman tag team action next. The Hate team of Natsukatora, Momo Watanabe, Konami, and Saya Kamatani defeated the God's Eye team of Shiori, Saki Kashima, Lady C, and Hina. Konami pinning Lady C with the knee kick, which is apparently the name of it. I think they probably will come up with a better name of that, in 13 minutes and 1 second. Wonder of Stardom Championship, number one contendership, three-way match, the living embodiment of why you should never listen to a single thing me or Matt say. Only Tekla was a member who had never gone for the white belt. Previously, obviously, Hanan went earlier against Soriano and lost in April. Hazuki obviously has the worst record or worst active losing streak in Stardom at the moment when it comes to championship opportunities. She's currently 0-5 for the Y belt. And sure enough, Hazuki won, defeating both Tekla and Hanan when she pinned Hanan with the Hazuki straddle in 12 minutes and 54 seconds. After myself and Matt had spent the entire of the preview podcast saying how they wouldn't be Hazuki. But there we are. What do we know? Semi-main event, 6-woman tag match. EXV, Maika, the returning Hanako, and Wax Tsukiyama defeated the Cosmic Angels team of Tam Nakano, Natsupoi, and Yuna Mizumori, with Hanako debuting quite a lot in this match, but also her brand new finisher, the Shirasagi, in 15 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll be talking a lot about that in a moment. And then in the high-speed championship match, Xena actually had the opportunity to become the first foreigner to win the high-speed championship since Mary Apache back in August of 2017. However, she was unsuccessful. The high-speed championship match between Mei Seira and Xena ended in a time limit draw in 15 minutes. Mei Seira making her successful first championship defense. What were your opinions of this, Matt?
You just pointed something out, and I'm going to be all sorts of conspiracy theory here. You said it was Mary Apache was the last foreigner to hold the high-speed championship.
Oh, God. Have I said something wrong?
No. I'm right. You're right. Correct.
I was just going to say, I triple-checked that.
No. You're right.
Okay.
Where do you see where I'm going to go? Where do you see I'm going to go with this?
Oh, God.
Now, who defeated Mary Patch to win that belt?
I want to say Hazuki.
It was Hazuki. Now, Hazuki's on this show, right? And she won a opportunity to win the white belt. Hazuki white belt champion confirmed on this show, my man. You thought I was like giving you some crazy trivia. No, I'm just trying to be funny. Trying to lighten the mood here, buddy. But to answer your question, I thought this was another solid show from Stardom. I think you had sent me a message because this show was on Sunday and I didn't watch it until I got through the first half of the show Sunday night. But I think you sent me a message Sunday night of how good Rianne looked. Pardon me, in her match with Starlight Kid. And we knew this was going to be good because Rianne is someone that's improving each and every outing, and Starlight Kid's doing a great job taking somebody from the middle of the card or the opening match and bringing them up to her level. And Starlight Kid did a great job here elevating Rianne. Rianne did a great job, probably her best performance that we've seen just yet, which again, she's only had a handful of matches and she's getting constantly better. This is a great way to start the show. Again, this was free on YouTube, so you have a big star in Starlight Kid coming off a phenomenal performance in the 5-star Grand Prix, and then you're getting your next rookie in front of as many eyes as possible on your YouTube channel that has something like 1.4 million subscribers. Great way to start the show. Again, Starlight Kid elevated Rian as much as she could here, really, without obviously, burying herself. But Starlight Kid wouldn't do that because she's so talented. But regardless, part, I think it was a great way to start the show. Starlight Kid getting a win over a very game Rian, and the future of Stardom looks really bright, my friend. It really does. This was a really terrific match. 3.5 stars for me.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good outing for Rian. Certainly her most accomplished singles performance, and she's really beginning to show some real strides in her development. And I think the fact that she was able to, for large swathes of this match, sort of keep up with Starlight Kid, even mirroring her springboard crossbody. And it's only really when Starlight Kid begins targeting the leg that Rian begins to falter in the contest. And you can sort of see the tides turning. And though, there is an obvious gulf in quality because Starlight Kid is so damn good, she's that damn good that actually she elevates Rian to a different level. And again, there was no forward motion in regards to where Rian is going to end up, which was teased at the 5-star finals in terms of faction. But I wouldn't hate Starlight Kid taking Rian under her wing because, again, post-match, it seemed that Starlight Kid was very sort of respectful towards Rian, almost impressed with Rian. So it would be an interesting fit, but I think she could fit in Neo Genesis. I don't think they will because obviously you've got the entire 5-person setup that you have. But it could work. Speaking of Starlight Kid, though, is there anyone, perhaps Mina Shirakawa, is there anybody that elicits at the moment crowd reactions like Starlight Kid? She has got audiences around Japan eating out of the palm of her hand at the moment, Matt.
She's got phenomenal charisma. Phenomenal charisma. It's the music, the entrance, the little dancing that she comes in. She's got the robe, the one mask. Sometimes she has two. She does a great job getting it. Her entrance is everything is something so cool. She's so energetic. Again, consider the fact that she wrestles in a mask, and it's so difficult to be able to connect with an audience when you're wrestling with a mask. But if you can do it and do it well, like you're even more over. Like you look at like the Rey Mysterios, like that's always the example to go to the Ultimo Dragons, stuff like that. And Starlight Kid does such a great job, wrestling in the mask and able to emote, to be able to get over certain emotions and just a really cool charisma. We talked about it for a year and a half, where it was like she's ready for that babyface run, and boom, here it is. It's just like she was so ready for this run a year ago. It just was. We were just waiting for the right time to pull the trigger. I mean, and the timing couldn't be any more perfect. The fact that now you kind of flipped her shoes, feuding with the Wedo Tai and Hate. We put her in the 5-star Grand Prix. She got a lot of wins. She was one win away from. She had a phenomenal tournament in the 5-star Grand Prix. She made it to the playoffs and the quarterfinals. Yeah, but you're absolutely right. Doesn't matter if she's wrestling the Shiris. Doesn't matter if she's wrestling the Sai Kamatanis, or if she's doing tag, or if she's wrestling the rookies here. She's always going to have a good match. She's always going to be able, as you said, partner, elicit a reaction from the crowd because she knows what her character is and she understands crowd psychology as well as in-ring psychology. And there is a difference. And when you can meld those two together and be as great as a wrestler as Starlight Kid, she's a ready-made package. And the fact that she's only in her young 20s, there's so much upside to Starlight Kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Could not agree more. She could we said it when she wrestled Saya Kamatani in the 5-star Grand Prix. We could well have just seen a match between the two faces of the company going forward. And I don't think anyone would be opposed to that. Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurora getting the win over Rina and Ruaka. The Cosmic Angels pairing, I thought, looked really, really cohesive on this show. And that finish as well was so well done, with Ruaka missing with the crate and then being absolutely clobbered by that Sayaka Kurora spear. The roll up from Aya Sakura. And again, you pointed this out, the fact that Aya Sakura has had actually quite low-key, a very good 5-star Grand Prix, even though she hasn't been in the tournament. The undercard matches that she has been a part of, she's been very, very accomplished in them, and she's been slowly but surely getting really, really, really good. And again, utilizing that triangle choke on Rena as sort of an offset for that whole host of kicks, that arsenal of kicks she's got, really, really does help her to become a legitimate threat, Matt.
Yeah, over this, the last year and a half, 2 years, this new crop of rookies that we've seen, the Miyu Amasakis, the Rians now, Victoria Hazuki, I know she's over there in Marigold and absolutely crushing it. The Sayaka Kuroras, the Hanakos, the Rani Yagamis. Aya Sakura seemed to be one that wasn't catching on as fast as the other. And sometimes it happens. Sometimes you just need more reps or you need to figure something else out. And, I know she had a couple starts and stops with some injuries, very much how like Miyu Amasaki did the
She
first
was
6,
out
8
for
months.
she was out for a long time with injury. I think hers was something like 9 months. She was out from July, I believe, last year. So she was out for a long spell with injury. So
Oh wow, I didn't realize it was that long. But even when she came back, she still seemed, and again, Stardom, all these wrestlers are good. Again,
yeah.
I always say it in the immortal words of the late great Roddy Piper, anybody that answers a bell, I have the ultimate respect for. But it just seemed like she was kind of waiting for something, like something was just missing. And it just seemed like she's been starting to hit it, maybe a week or two before the 5-star. You're like, oh, you can see she's starting to come along. And again, she had great matches in the 5-star Grand Prix on those non-tournament matches. And then we've just been seeing her develop more. And the fact that she gets the win over Arena, who's the future Stardom champion, who has pretty much cleared out the division, you're like, oh, that's where we're going. And then she cuts a very passionate promo. And again, I don't speak Japanese. I don't know what she says, but I understand emotions and I understand when a crowd isn't getting over with the promo. That's exactly, pardon me, that's exactly what happened here with Aya Sakura. And you're like, oh, this is where we're going. And the way that Aya has been built over those last 5 or 6 weeks, and again, the fact that Rena kind of doesn't have anything more to do, it might be time to elevate her to the high speed division or the goddess division or even the Wonder. I wouldn't be hurt at all to see Rena and Hazuki or Rena and Natsupoi in the next few months go for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. But she's kind of outgrown the division, and maybe the next heir apparent to this belt is Aya Sakura. I didn't see it coming. Rani Yagami or Hina, and as usual, partner, we were wrong. We doubled down on both those. We were wrong, but in true Stardom cast fashion, consistency is key, folks. But maybe it's Aya Sakura, and I wouldn't be upset with it at all because she's fantastic. She's putting the work in. She's come back, as you said, partner. She's come back from a long injury and is looking really, really good here. Again, not only was the match good, we built to something, and the best part about the match is if you're like me and you're like Rob and you hate that damn lunch crate thing, it's what was the ultimate downfall in this match. So really, really good stuff, my friend, and the fact that we're building somewhere, going with Rena and Aya Sakura. Yeah, great stuff.
Moving on then, three-way match, Mina Shirakawa returning to Stardom. She's brought up the Undisputed British Women's Championships, which I thought was really good. I also really enjoyed that despite having been in USA for a month, she's evidently not learnt not to trust a pre-match handshake. And this almost cost her with Yagami baiting her in on the pretense of congratulating her on the title win, Matt.
Yeah, really, really fun stuff. New gear. She looks fantastic. We did see some of her new hairstyle while she was over here in the United States. But the new blue gear with the pink looks absolutely fantastic. She's you mentioned with Starlight Kid, she's always been somebody that is able to work the crowd with her charisma. It even seems like she has more charisma. Maybe like she was slowing down her entrance or her charisma, like was more camera ready because you're in AEW. So not only are you working to your audience, but you're working to almost like your 700,000 people or whatever their ratings are on AEW. It really seemed like she was kind of slowing down her entrance so everybody was able to see it, not only in Korakuen Hall, but like we had time to kind of elicit our reaction as we're watching on TV. So again, considering the fact that Mina has been spending a lot of time and will be spending more time, from what I understand, working for the second biggest wrestling company in the world, AEW. I'm sure that she's getting more of the American psychology down, where it's maybe slowing certain things down, especially getting her character over before she gets in the ring. Like she was always insanely charismatic, for the last 3 or 4 years, but like this is a completely different level. Again, new hairstyle, new gear. but same fantastic worker that Mina Shirakawa was. Rani Yagami here, she was terrific. Saya Ida was great. There was some really cool kick, chops, and forearm spots back and forth. I liked how Mina went to go do like the Mina dance thing where she slides, and Saya Ida was like dancing a little, and then Rani Yagami's like, "Yeah, I want none of this." The two of them just started waylaying on Mina Shirakawa. There's some really fun, great striking stuff, and considering the fact that you can tell an easy story with the striking alone, Mina is very good at the forearms. Saya Ida is very good at the chops. Rani Yagami is very good with the kicks. So it's just like you can tell that story just with those. So that's what they did there. Eventually, though, Mina does break down Rani Yagami's knee. We do see some mid kicks between Mina and Saya Ida. And then we do see Mina hit the implant DDT, then a rowing elbow onto Saya Ida. But then Rani Yagami comes in for the save. We get some back and forth with Mina and Rana, but ultimately it's the glamorous driver Mina that puts away the Beach Striker, our favorite drummer over here in Stardom. I thought this was a really, really solid outing, and they got time to tell the story. And I say all the time, when you have these multi-person matches, whether it's a tag or a 6-person or a 3-way, it can get a little bit jumbled if somebody is off time. Stardom does it better than any wrestling company I've ever seen, and this is just another example. I had it at 3 3/4 stars.
It was another really, really fun match. And I think the fact that they gave this quite a lot of time, these 3-ways are often done in 5, 6, 7 minutes, but to give it almost 12 minutes, they gave it time. And I think this time, it really helped to give every single member of this match the time to shine. And, we had Saya Ida and Rani Yagami literally just beating the hell out of each other with chops and with kicks, which was really, really entertaining. Some of those cavernous kicks from Rani, you can tell that she's under the tutelage of Syuri without a doubt. But it's really fun, irrespective of the fact that Mina is undoubtedly the star of this match. And that rapid fire start is so good. And for all of Mina's sort of postulating and grand staging, and, she is very, very much a performer. She's a damn good wrestler as well. And it's little exchanges like that really do remind you, actually, she's not just, a fantastic performer. She's a damn good wrestler as well. And then she leads the entire crowd in a chant of "We Want Mina" and Mina Shirakawa before leaving with her titles aloft, as though we needed even more of a reminder of just how much of a big star she is. Now, Matt, not since the 3-man band days have I seen such a fantastic air instrument rendition of a theme as I saw in this match between Miyu Amasaki, Azumi, Suzu Suzuki, attempting to jam out Suzu's theme. This group must be protected at all costs.
By the way, free Stardom Cast stickers to anybody that comes up with the match graphic of the 3-man band versus Azumi, Miyu Amasaki, and Suzu Suzuki. So I just want to let you know, for it might be the same person that set up the match graphic of Saya Ida versus Seth Rollins.
Or Matt versus Lady C.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one. That was a really good one. I still never got my pay on that, but anywho. Yeah, this was it, and we've had some conversations on the old social media of who the leader of the band is. I believe it was one of our listeners said they think it's Miyu Amasaki because she was playing the piano, very much like Freddie Mercury. Where I said it's clearly Suzu Suzuki because she was strumming on that guitar like she was Slash from Guns N' Roses. But obviously, Rob, this is the Stardom Cast. This is where you get your big, important news. This is the only podcast in the entire world, wrestling or non-wrestling related, where we talk about the heavy issues like who has the best hairdo, who has the best gear. Rob Goodwin, I do have to ask you, who do you think the leader of this band is and the reason why? Again, I say Suzu Suzuki because all she needed was Slash's top hat, and to me that was the same thing as 1988 Slash. But we need to know, I need to know, Mr. Rob Goodwin, the authors of the book Living the Dream and Chasing the Dream, which you can get on Amazon for free shipping if you buy them in a bundle, by the way. I haven't plugged those in a while, and I apologize. We need to know, who do you think the leader of this 3-man band is?
I can tell you who it's not, and that is Azumi, because Bless her.
So,
I was a big fan of her attempts at drumming, but she was only drumming with one hand. The other hand was doing very little. However, I appreciate her effort, and that is all that we can say. It's a
Andy had to turn off the podcast, by the way. Sorry, Andy had to just shut the
we'll
podcast.
never see
Go
him on
ahead.
the Stardom cast ever again now. It's a tough one because I am a big fan of piano-led bands, and being British. I mean, Slash is technically British. He was born in Burslem, which is just down the road from me. No, do you know what? I'm going to stay true to my roots. I am going to agree with Big Beard Booty Daddy, who I believe it was that said it was Freddie Mercury. With my countrymen, I'm going to go Mia Wamasaki and Freddie Mercury, Matt.
There you go. There you go. Well, there you go. We got the big results. The big results, my friend. So, but let's talk about this match. This was a absolute banger of a match. This was, you get the Kuma Dance to start, and then once this thing picked up, this thing picked up. There's nobody. Mayu Iwatani led Stars. The way they do their tag work, whether it's tag match, whether it's 6-person, 8 or 10, it's really next level. Like when they come off with certain speed, and then Azumi, Miyu Amasaki, and Suzu Suzuki, they weren't to be tried either. Because of the fact that Azumi and Miyu Amasaki were part of Queen's Quest, there was a lot of like Queen's Quest style teamwork between these two. This was great back and forth action, and I loved how it was Momo Kogo was the big standout in this match for me, considering the fact that you have two former winners of the 5-star Grand Prix in this match, considering the fact that you have Azumi, who is clearly a main eventer, one of the MVPs of the 5-star Grand Prix this past year, Kagama, who's a former goddess champion, a former high-speed champion, where Momo Kogo, they did a great job highlighting, and she really felt like she was the big star in this match, ultimately to eat the tequila shot from Suzu Suzuki. This was a great match. The fact they were able to get all this stuff in, all this fantastic work in, tell a story and get it done in less than 9 minutes. It's just kudos to how talented these two teams and these 6 wrestlers were. I had this at 3 3/4 stars.
I think it's telling that whenever a new faction is put together, or whenever a new team is put together, they are always put against Stars, because Stars have, in my opinion, and it is only my opinion, the most seamless chemistry of anyone on this roster, especially in these 6 and 8 women tags. They just flow so well. And it's not just Koguma, Hazuki, Mayu, Hanan, but also, Momo Kogo deserves a little bit of credit there as well, because she has fit in really, really well in these multi-women matches. And again, having that extended run is what we said with Miyu Amasaki a few years back. The fact that she's been able to have this run without succumbing to, because as we know, I have so much respect knowing how much pain she's in as she's wrestling. I have such an infinite amount of respect for Momo Kogo now. Just every time she manages to step into the ring. But the fact that she's been able to do this run of shows without a break, you're really starting to see the benefits of it for her. You're missing 2 big points here, though, Matt, and these are the most important points. One, Mayu Iwatani is that good that she completely missed a dropkick. Completely. Like, she was a good yard and a half off it. She misjudged it completely, to the point where the referee starts laughing, and she still styles it out. That's how you know who a GOAT is. That's how you know who your worker of the year is. You can completely whiff a move and nobody cares. And also, Miyu Amasaki, the biggest heel turn I've ever seen in Korakuen Hall. She not only turned down the Kuma Dance, but she shoved Koguma down. Who does she think she is? Do you know what? I'm radically rethinking my leader of Neo Genesis band. But the fact that the crowd started booing, and then Miyu Amasaki couldn't understand why they were booing her. So then in the end, very reluctantly picked Koguma up and was like, come on then, we'll do the Kuma Dance. And they did the Kuma Dance. She looked very miserable about it. Then they hugged and she looked really happy. And then she almost got rolled up. Just very, very good performance from Miyu Amasaki. Again, tremendous stuff from Stars. As always, it's sort of the least we expect now from a Stars multi-woman.
I'll say this real quick, Rob. When me and Andy Hedder did the Kuma Dance, nobody pushed us down.
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm just take that where you will. I'm just saying, I don't know if it was done out of fear or people were just really confused. People just really confused at the Kalahari Resort. It wasn't as much as we would like to think we were in Korakuen Hall. That clearly wasn't it.
I just love the idea of some people in that crowd going, "What are these two grown men doing?"
We just popped ourselves.
Oh, hate versus
Anyway.
God's Eye. There's obviously still understandably, a lot of residual hate, pardon the pun, between Syuri and Konami. But one thing you don't ordinarily associate with Syuri is being overly emotional. Unfortunately, she lets it get the better of her here in confronting Konami as the match starts, and this allows her to rake the eyes and for hate to attack. And something that I noticed in this match is that obviously Hina's completely isolated at the start of this, gets absolutely battered. And it's almost like Syuri wants to, even though she's got this faction behind her, even though she's obviously very protective of this faction, she seems to want to fight hate on her own. Like, don't get me wrong, you are faced with Syuri and you are terrified. I am thousands of miles away and a time difference away, and I'm terrified whenever I see her across the ring. But she seems to want to do it repeatedly on her own. She's taking on Natsukatora, Momo Watanabe, and then Konami as well on her own. Do you think that is a sense of guilt for the fact that she didn't see the turn of Konami coming? Do you think it's a lack of trust, maybe, in Lady C, for example? Or do you think it's just a case of that anger coming through and she's like, no, I am going to rip Konami limb from limb?
You made a lot of good points there, but I think it's just the fact that Sherry's the biggest badass in this company, and there's a lot of steam in a Sherry vs. Konami long-term program. Again, we had the turn in Korakuen Hall, so about a week or so later, we had their match on the pay-per-view, and it went to a disqualification. And we knew, like, okay, this isn't going to be a one-off. This is something they can build to, because you were going into the 5-star. We didn't think Konami was winning. We didn't think Shuri was winning. They both had really good 5-stars, especially Shuri. But what are you going to do with them in the outset? You can put them in these multi-person matches. You can have Shuri climb the ladder up a little. Maybe give Konami a title challenge here or there. But ultimately, at least for the next couple months, they need to be building to Shuri versus Konami. Maybe they'll do another UWF style match, which I'm all for. But that's what this is. This was just Shuri. A lot of this match was just a lot of heat on Hina in the beginning, and then when Shuri would come in, she would just go after pretty much every. This match was like, oh yeah, I forgot these two hate each other. I forgot, like, this is Sherry's thing, because again, heel turn happened. We had our one-off match, and then off the 5-star where they were in different brackets, where they did a great job reminding us this is probably where we're going as far as our next big non-championship feud. And I'm all for it, because Konami and Shuri styles make fights. They both work that shoot style, very hard-hitting style, very submission-based style. So we were able to put that back into everybody's brains of like, yeah, this is where we're going to go sometime in the future. I thought Lady C looked fantastic here. I like how Saki Kashima, who is, kind of the different, more of a style wrestler in God's eye, more the comedic wrestler. But she's like Sherry's protector now. Like, did you ever notice that? She's like, no, I am Sherry's protector, because she's the one that kind of that brought me into this group after I got exiled from the Loser Leaves cage match last year with Queen's Quest and Oedo Tai. So I like how, like, she's almost like the bodyguard of the biggest badass in this company, which is, again, another comedic side to Saki Kashima. Again, a lot of the stuff here was just heat on Hina and just a build up for Shuri versus Konami. Sai Kamatani, Momo, and Tora, they all played their roles really well, but ultimately that was the main crux of the match, with Konami hitting that ripcord knee strike, which I really, really like. Again, Lady C, when she got into the ring, all of her stuff meant something. We've seen a lot of improvement on Lady C. She's another one that is on that lower mid card. That's somebody that when she gets in the ring, you're like, oh yeah, she's really, really good. You just forget with a stacked roster how good Lady C really is. And she does a great job maximizing every second that she is in the ring. And she's doing a great job, like, altering her look. We've been seeing different styles of Lady C ever since the Queen's Quest breakup back in the summer. But yeah, ultimately, my man, I know that I'm repeating myself. The main thing of this match was to remind us that we're going to be getting a big feud between Shuri and Konami and I'm all for it. I think this feud's going to add into the top level of red belt matches that we're getting, the top belt level of wonder matches we're getting, and of course the top belt level of IWGP Championship matches that we have coming over the next couple months. You put these two in a series of matches, whether to tags, whether they're no DQ, whether again they're UWFI, they're really just going to pad out some stat cards we have coming up between now and the end of the year. For me, this was 3.5 stars.
It wouldn't surprise me, if we saw a cage match between Tam Nakano and Natsupoi. We've seen the cage match utilized really quite well and sparingly in Stardom, crucially. Maybe that's where they go with this. Maybe that's what we get in Ryogoku. Maybe we get a cage match between Konami and Syuri, and that's how we get to the end of this feud. And I certainly wouldn't be opposed to that. I think that's a really good idea because, the UWFI rules match is a great stipulation, but if you've got Konami who's just going to cheat, what's the point? And the idea of the numbers game repeatedly working against Syuri and God's Eye and whoever they face, the idea of having the cage there to keep the members of Hate out, that could really work. Plus, it gives Konami a reason or the license to be as violent as she wants. The same with Syuri, which is obviously what they both want going into this feud. So that's certainly something to keep an eye on moving forward. Right, Hazuki. She's got the chance, man. And I love the fact that Hazuki's got the chance. Anyone that listens to this podcast knows that me and Matt are huge advocates of Hazuki. We love Hazuki. And the fact that she's got another white belt match is fantastic. Would I have done it here at Namba Grand Fight with less than a week's build? No, I wouldn't. I think there's a story to tell there. And I think that Hazuki versus Natsupoi is a really, really good semi-main event for the Ryogoku show at the end of the year. That's my own personal opinion. I think Natsupoi deserves a couple of defenses, and I think Tekla would have been a perfect person to get that first defense against. My concern is that obviously Hazuki has that dreadful record. This will be a sixth attempt at the Wonder Belt. She's never won it. Whoever wins this match, obviously, if Hazuki wins, we're all going to be made up. Hazuki's finally won the white belt. But ultimately, Natsupoi is the latest in a line of 3 people to have a less than 50-day reign, which is upsetting. And also, I think that Natsupoi deserves more than no title defenses. So either way, I feel like we're going to have a little bit of disappointment, which is why I wanted to give it just a little bit more of a build. Not because I don't want to see Hazuki win the white belt. That's everything I've ever wanted. And personally, I think it's only because me and you said to Taro Okada as we left Philly, Hazuki white belt, yes? That's why this is happening. I feel like that's the only reason. Nothing to do with booking or anything like that. Solely me and you. I just wish that Natsupoi was given a little bit more time. Unless what they do here is, having gone to a time limit draw at the 5-star, they go to another time limit draw in Edion Arena, Osaka, and then they go again at Ryogoku. We saw it happen with Mirai and Soriano. Maybe that's what they do here. If Hazuki wins, great. I'm made up for Hazuki. That's literally what I've wanted since I started watching Stardom. I'll be over the moon. But I will be sad for Natsupoi, Matt.
Yeah, and obviously once we get to our preview, which is only going to be a few minutes away because I think we only have a couple more matches. Once we get to our preview of that show, because I do want to delve into it because you have a lot of Hazuki fans, a lot of Natsupoi fans, and then with the main event, a lot of Micah fans and a lot of Tam fans. And considering the fact that Natsupoi has not had a title defense yet, and that Tam has not had a title defense yet, and considering the fact that there's a good chance that one, if not both those belts can switch. Again, we'll get into that when we get into our preview. But this match was great. Again, I made mention with Rana Yagami, Saya Ida, and Mina Shirakawa. These 3-ways can be very difficult to do. And I completely forgot until the bell rang. I was like, ooh, this is a little bit different because it's 2 baby faces and 1 heel. Not only 2 baby faces, but 2 baby faces in the same faction. And I was like, oh, and that's pretty cool because it's on Tekla. Again, in my opinion, the most hated heel in a good way. in this company, considering the fact of just how much heat she can actually get and how she understands who Tekla as a member of Hate is. So I thought that was really good, and Tekla does a great job kind of using the numbers game almost to her advantage. Eventually, though, we thought it'd be a 2-on-1, but eventually it's really just all of Hate against these two members of Stars. As we get some interference in, hey, that's going to happen. I thought Tekla here was great. She did a great job dodging a lot of the big blows from these two members of Stars and able to use her quickness. And again, we're seeing more of aggressive and more explosive style of Tekla, which I really, really love. There's this one spot where Tekla and Hanan are fighting on the apron, and Tekla gets the better of the exchange. And then Hazuki's coming up off a sail, and Hazuki's kind of bent over, and Tekla does the double stomp that she's been using. But she does it from the apron to the outside onto Hazuki. I thought that was a really, really cool spot. Eventually, once this gets ramped up, it's just full on violence between Hanan with the European uppercuts, Hazuki with everything, and Tekla with with the toxic spears and the forearms. Some interesting stuff there. I liked how Tekla comes in and she brings a chair and she uses the chair to take Hanan out. And in true Hazuki fashion, Tekla's just like, well, this chair worked on Hanan. It's going to work on Hazuki. So she goes to do the chair shot onto Hazuki. And Hazuki winds up wiping out Tekla, not with a chair shot, not with a weapon, but with a forearm. Basically saying, I don't care what illegal object you bring in here. It doesn't matter because nothing is as more violent as my right forearm. I thought that was really, really good. And a score one for the People's Champ. I liked how this one ended because, again, it's first fall wins. So you need to either eliminate the one opponent or able to try to get a quick fall. That's what happens here. Hanan tries the 17 roll up on Hazuki. Hazuki kicks out. She eventually is able to come back with the Hazuki straw, getting the win, thus punching her ticket for her 6th attempt at the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Solid match. A finish that I did not see coming. 3 3/4 stars for me.
Moving on to the semi-main event, then we have that Hanako. What do you think of the rebirth of Hanako? I mean, not only has she done that thing where she's come back to Japan and her hair has magically grown, but she seems to be taking on her, sort of channeling that inner Rhea Ripley with the stomp. She's got a more aggressive moveset. We've seen the debut of this standing triangle choke in the, what I believe she calls the Shirasagi. What is your opinion of Hanako and also of her performance in this match?
She came in, fresh coat of paint, looked like a big star. Again, she must have taken the tonic water that Utami Hayashishita had and some of the ones that Natsupoi had because, yes, her hair grew back longer, new look, new gear, and she was in great shape before, but she really, really has been hitting the gym because she was unbelievable shape, almost unrecognizable in a good way, really upping her character. Her moveset is more effective towards her. They did a great job pointing her out in this match. Obviously, the main part of this match is to sell more tickets for Micah versus Tam, which is what we got to. But eventually, like once we did that, we broke that apart. We got this mini match with Hanako and Yuna Mizumori, and we know how explosive Yuna Mizumori is, and Hanako was right there with her. And they did a great job building this finish up and building Hanako up for her that new move, that standing triangle choke. I thought that was a really, really cool finish. The way that she was able to build towards everything, they make her look like a monster in this match. So you're able to get two things over in just this one match, and that is one, Mike and Tam. We know it's going to be a great match. We got a little preview here. We're going to get a little bit more of a preview on Friday with New Blood, and then ultimately, though, once that kind of the smoke cleared, the main thing is Hanako just came back from a very successful tour over here in the United States. She has a new look, new moveset, looks like $1 million. We need to make sure that when this match is over, when the bell rings for this co-main event, or semi-main event, that she's the one standing, not only looking tall with her hand raised, but that she looks like an absolute monster, an absolute killer in this match. And that's exactly what they did. Stardom has got a lot of things going on, with as far as champion. Because I thought she did a great job here.
Yeah, she did. Absolutely. I think she was sort of made the focus as well. The fact that she was the last out in a team with Micah and Waka Tsukiyama, I thought it was really, really good. The fact that they gave her that spotlight, the fact that she got the win as well, the fact that she's debuting new moves, the fact that it was the JP coaster into the Shirasagi as well. I did enjoy the little exchanges that we did get between Tam and Micah, the really hefty forearms, the lariats, and to be honest, this was just a really enjoyable tag. And the fact that they said, look, we haven't had a lot of build to this. I want to do another build. I want to do another match. Let's do it at New Blood. I did like that. It does sort of negate the New Blood aesthetic, but the fact that they then enlisted Sayaka Kurora for Tam and then Rian for Micah, who then locked her in a headlock. I was like, this is just bullying now. This is just full-on bullying. Poor Rian. But that should be really, really good as well. Overall, a thoroughly enjoyable preview. Tag we'll get into, obviously, Tam versus Micah very, very shortly. But Matt, Mei Seira has made the first successful title defense of her second reign with that high-speed belt. But Xena as a high-speed wrestler, at the moment, there is very little that Xena cannot do. The woman cannot seem to put a foot wrong at the moment. Every single time she steps into a Stardom ring, she seems to have improved some element of her performance. Not only is she very powerful, not only does she possess the most blistering chops in Stardom, sorry Sayarida, but she's also frighteningly quick as well. And this really did showcase that, didn't it?
Yeah, she did a great job keeping up with Mei Seira here. And Gina's somebody that I can see holding the high speed championship. But not just yet, because Mei Seira, we've been saying for the past year or so that she is really the heir apparent to Azumi and Starlight Kid in this division, just by how just her blinding speed, her great psychology, her intensity, the fact that on these quick falls, which is the staple of the high speed division, you don't know which way it's going to go. You know, we have reversal falls, and then we've seen it in the 5-star how she was able to almost do like a reverse 180 body roll into the shooting star. I'm like, how is that even humanly possible? Xena looks she again fantastic. This was a great match. I was shocked this went to the time limit draw, especially for a first defense on this new reign or new run from Mei Seira. Regardless, this is a match that they can definitely run back, and they should. I mean, the story's right there. Xena's high speed champion, I wouldn't say no, but not for a while. I want to see Mei Seira to have that really, really Azumi style legendary run with this championship belt, because she's such a fantastic wrestler, and she's the exact staple what this division should be and needs to be. Regardless, they can get a lot more miles out of this match or out of these two. This was really some really terrific stuff, and I liked how Mei Seira, she couldn't get the advantage in the beginning with her speed. Like Xena was able to kind of cut the ring off. And we've seen May do this a handful of times before. I love it how May jumps up and down, does these little stomps through the opponent's foot to slow them down, so then she could pick her speed up. I think that's really, really cool. Just some excellent stuff. Just those chops, those chops from Xena. And again, what I've been calling the two-step German suplex. That was a really, really cool spot from Xena. She was able to throw throw Mei Seira halfway across the ring. Some excellent stuff there. I liked how Xena was going for the tornado backbreaker, and Mei Seira was able to roll up Xena. I thought that was the finish. I thought that was excellent stuff there. And we've been seeing Xena even add some more submissions to her game. You know, with the arm bar. I thought there was some really good stuff there. And then Xena at the end is able to really finally slow Mei Seira down after this like almost 15-minute sprint. Hits her with a pair of lariats, but too little, too late, as the old TLD signals the end of this match. I thought this was a terrific match and really a great way to end a terrific Stardom show in Korakuen Hall. 4.25 stars for me, good sir.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is something that Stardom, it comes as less and less of a surprise with Stardom. The fact that every single time we say, oh, this card isn't quite as loaded as it could be, and then we forget just how good these wrestlers are, and the matches they do put on are just that damn good. Overall, I think that Xena, again, she's something of a chameleon in the fact that she can really adapt to any sort of situation and any sort of matchup. And again, I can perfectly see her being a high-speed champion in the future. Absolutely. Why not? Why not give her that run? She deserves it, especially if, God willing, she's going to be hanging around as well. Again, I thought this was a fantastic match. 4 stars from me. Mei Seira continues to be such a highlight on all of these cards. She had a fantastic 5-star Grand Prix, not just because of her pace and her speed and her exciting athleticism, but also because she's able to tell stories because of that submission work. She's able to adapt her game, and here she does it again with Xena having to adapt her offense because Xena's just too damn powerful. Overall, brilliant match, really thoroughly enjoyable and a great way to end this card. A really good show. Another really good Korakuen in a row from Stardom. Matt, let's talk then about Namba Grand Fight, the pay-per-view coming up on Saturday, the 14th of September. Edion Arena, Osaka, live on pay-per-view. The card is as follows, and we'll go through the matches and who we think is going to win very shortly. Xena versus Rian. Yeah, pray for Rian's chest. Mina Shirakawa versus Saya Kamatani. The EXV team of Waka Tsukiyama and Hanako versus the God's Eye team of Hina and Rana Yagami. Cosmic Angels team of Soriano, Yuna Mizumori, Aya Sakura, and Sayaka Kurore take on the Hate team of Natsukatora, Rina Riwaka, and Azusa Inaba. The Neo Genesis team of Starlight Kid and Meisera are teaming with Pro Wrestling Waves Kohaku against the Stars team of Koguma, Saya Ida, and Momo Kogo. It's Kohaku's Stardom debut, I believe. The God's Eye team of Shiori Saki, Kashima, and Lady C will be taking on the Hate team of Momo Watanabe, Konami, and Tekla. In a random singles match that we're just having thrown on this pay-per-view card, Suzu Suzuki versus Tomoka Inaba. Sure, why not? Eye Contact, Mayu Iwatani and Hanan versus O2 line, Azumi and Miyu Amasaki. Again, that could easily be a Goddess of Stardom title match, but sure, why not? And then, of course, you've got the two title matches, the Wonder of Stardom Championship, Natsupoi defending the belt for the first time versus Hazuki, and then the World of Stardom Championship match, the champion, Tam Nakano, defending the belt for the first time against the 5-star Grand Prix 2024 winner, Micah. Matt, this card is ridiculous. Like, for a random pay-per-view in the middle of September, we've got a red belt and a white belt match together, which is great, which sees us have Natsupoi and Hazuki in a rematch from their great match, Tam Nakano versus Micah, which we've had teased for what feels like about 8 months. We've got Suzu Suzuki versus Tomoka Inaba and Mina Shirakawa and Saya Kamatani just thrown on the undercard randomly. You've got Mayu Iwatani and Hanan versus O2 line. What's going on, man? What's going on?
It's funny because I know, again, where I get all of my news is from the Stardom cast, but I noticed on Sunday that you posted on our social medias and, of course, on the Stardom cast website, which, as always, kudos to you, brother, because you do an A++ job on that. And if you've not checked out the website, guys, I mean, you definitely click the link, because Rob does a great job with that. I'm like, oh, Rob posted the full card. And I knew what the co-main event was in the main event. And that's enough to draw, right? You have Hazuki, Natsupoi, Wonder, and then you have Micah and Tam World. Like, those are 2 big matches on their own. I figured they kind of just fill in with a few tag matches and some stuff that they'll be building. And I'm looking at the card, and I was like, did Rob misspell something? Like, we're getting Tomoka Inaba and Suzu Suzuki. We're getting Eye Contact and O2 line. Geez, the YouTube free match is Mina Shirakawa or Saya Kamatani, considering the fact that Saya, we still don't know what we're doing with her, but it's awesome. Like, it's awesome. She's fantastic. I know Mina Shirakawa has just been on AEW TV a whole bunch, and, everybody's pumped for her return to Japan. So I was like, I mean, it's very rare for Rob to make mistakes, especially when he posts full cards. So I had to go to like 3 or 4 different sites. I'm like, oh my God, this is the card? There's no really crazy build-up, but okay, like, I'm all for it. Like, we're just catching our breath from the 5-star, and this is what we're getting. I'm like, this is fantastic. This really is, and I think it's genius on Stardom to give us Mina Shirakawa versus Saya Kamatani on the YouTube for free. I think that's really, really smart, because you're going to hook people in. I mean, how can you not? Again, we know that Mina, especially the AEW crowd, especially the AEW fans that big fans of Mina Shirakawa. And no disrespect to anybody that she's ever wrestled in AEW, even one Tony Storm we absolutely love. Nobody is as good as Saya Kamatani, especially Saya Kamatani, this new version that is over like Rover that people absolutely love, and now the fact that we're gonna have an actual babyface versus heel match, maybe, maybe not. I mean, regardless, because Sai Kamatani, nobody's booing her, but of course everybody's cheering Mina. So you're gonna get a lot of the AEW fans that are like, oh, I'm gonna watch this because this is this Mina Shirakawa that I absolutely love, and she's fantastic. And then once they see the Sai Kamatani entrance, I'm like, wow, this she's fantastic. And it makes, and if you think about it, you have the colorful Mina Shirakawa, you have the dance, the whole, whether she's in the pink or the blue or whatever, and then you have kind of the dark, all black with the music and the flag in the new version of Saya Kamatani. It's really like an easy story to tell. And then once they see Saya Kamatani wrestle, people are going to be blown away. Again, I think this is genius to put this on YouTube because you're going to get a lot of the American viewers that have seen Mira Shirakawa, that are fans of Mina Shirakawa. They're like, hey, this is free. Yeah, I'll watch it. They're going to be blown away by this match. Do I expect this to be as good as their 5-star match from 2022 or as their 2 Wonder of Stardom Championship matches? No. And that's not a slight on them just because those matches are like really, really high level matches. But I mean, what a great way to start a show. Really, what a great way to start a show. And there's so many matches on this card, Rob. I don't know how they're going to go. I really, really do. And I may have, spent all my luck money on my fantastic predictions on the 5-star Grand Prix because I really crushed it. For this one, I can see me getting like one match right. So I guess without any further ado, you want to do our predictions that are probably really, really wrong?
Yeah, I don't see really why we should bother because genuinely we will get everything wrong. But yeah, let's delve into it, my man. Xena versus Rian, as good as Rian has become, and as much as I've been singing the praises, Xena is winning that, right?
It's the only one we're getting right, buddy.
Yeah, there we
Cena.
go. That's the lock, my friend.
One in a row.
Yes. Mina versus Saya. This is really interesting. I could see this potentially going to the time limit draw. Even though it's on YouTube, you're not gonna. I know you're not gonna have Saya Kamatani lose. She's just lost in the 5-star final. She's one of your hottest commodities. Similarly, you've also got Mina Shirakawa, who is also one of your hottest commodities. If anyone's winning, I would say it's probably Saya Kamatani via nefarious means. However, my heart sort of leans towards a time limit draw, but for the sake of sort of not sitting on the fence, let's go with Saya.
I'm gonna go with Saya too, just for yeah, exactly. She's white hot right now, and we don't know what we're doing, Mina. We heard rumors 2 weeks ago that she moved to America. We'd really never heard anything more than that. But if she's gonna be splitting her time between the States and Stardom, Saya Kamatani's like she's the cool thing. So it would make sense for a Saya Kamatani, but kind of again, my official prediction is Saya Kamatani. But kind of play devil's advocate. We know since we're getting all these crazy matches that are being built up, they need something really big for Sumo Hall. And maybe it's Mina versus Tam for the red belt. That would be massive. We go back that way, and the fact that Mina's having all this exposure from the United States. So, that's a possibility. But I'm going to agree and say Sai Kamatani. But yeah, there's there's like 4 or 5 matches. I'm like, that might be the time limit draw. That might be the time limit draw. I'm like, oh, how do they get out of this one? I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to say Kamatani wins.
EXV versus God's Eye, then, I think with what they did with Hanako at Korakuen, the fact that they've given her this new lick of paint, I see it probably being EXV that come out of this the winners.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, my friend. But yeah, you have all this new hype on Hanako, and rightfully so. Her getting a big win here on what's looked like it's going to be an absolute stellar card, I think would really mean a lot for what they're doing with her. But yeah, I agree. I see Hanako getting a win, which means Waka coming up with yet another win, buddy. We're seeing Waka getting some wins here or there, which always makes my heart happy.
Exactly. It's the power of the hip attack. Cosmic Angels versus Hey. This is an interesting one. You want to heat up the challenger, so you could potentially have Sayoriano pin someone, and then obviously that gives Aya Sakura the win on that team. But also, you've got Yuna Mizumori, Aya Sakura, and Sayaka Kurora, all who could eat the pin there. I'm going to go Cosmic Angels. I think Sayoriano gets the pin over Iwaka.
This is and it's an interesting one because you talk about Cosmic Angels, and we're getting closer and closer to the Goddess Tag League. Soriano and Unimizumori, and I've said this a bunch of times before, when every member last year was injured except for Soriano and Unimizumori, Soriano and Unimizumori were a phenomenal team together. They really were. And then you have Sayaka and Aya, which we've been singing their praises. So you kind of have the two teams there on one side. Tora coming off that loss, do we build her back up? But then at the same time, I don't think anybody's buying Natsuko Tora as a big threat to any of these championships, at least not until start next year. You have Azusa Inaba coming back. But yeah, I agree. I think it would make sense for the Cosmic Angels to get a win as we're going to be heating up Aya Sakura up for her future Stardom Championship. So, yeah, good pick on that one, my man. But considering the fact that we picked Cosmic Angels on that one, put all your money on Hate. But no, I'm going to agree and say the Cosmic Angels team pick up the win here.
Yeah. We then have, I keep clicking on the wrong link. We then have Neo Genesis and Kohaku versus Stars. This could potentially be the time limit draw.
Oh, jeez.
I know. For me, there's two matches that go to the time limit draw. And that's this one or potentially the Wonder of Stardom Championship match. I'm gonna go Neo Genesis on this simply because it's Neo Genesis, and that is literally my reasoning. Unfortunately, Momokogo is on the Stars team, and that ordinarily means, especially when you've got Starlight Kid and Mei Seira on the other team, probably means Momokogo is going to be eating the fall. However, would I hate Momokogo challenging for the high speed title as a filler defense for Mei Seira? No, certainly not. I think it'd be quite good, Matt.
Rob, I totally agree. I think that Neo Genesis wins. However, you literally can build up 3 challengers for Mei Seira's High Speed Championship.
You can.
Momokogo, Koguma, and Saida. We've seen Saida challenge for the high speed before. Momokogo, again, one of the most underrated matches in Stardom history. Momokogo's challenge against Azumi for the high speed championship in 2022 was a great match. And I would love to see Momokogo versus Mei Seira. Koguma has not, considering the fact she's a high speed genius, she hasn't challenged for that title in quite some time. So I would love to see that maybe on a Stardom World show or as one of the openers for one of these pay-per-views coming up. So there's a lot that you can build there, but I totally agree. Neo Genesis is the fancy new thing, especially the fact that you have Mei Seira, phenomenal performance in the 5-star Starlight Kid. We've already ranted and raved much about her, and then Kohaku coming over from Pro Wrestling Wave. This is a flip of a coin, but I'm going to say Neo Genesis, but fingers crossed that we get some sort of build to any of these members of Stars as the next challenger for Mei Seira's High Speed Championship.
Yeah, I agree. Koguma hasn't challenged in a while. It would make sense more for Koguma to do it, actually. I've talked myself into that. It could be Koguma.
Yeah.
Kuma. God's Eye then versus Hate. There is a chance for Shuri to get her win back here. I do probably think this is Hate, though, when you consider that you've got Momo Watanabe, Konami, and Tekla on one team. I unfortunately see Lady C probably in the pinfall again. Plus, it builds into the feud between Saki Kashima and Lady C if Lady C gets pinned again, which I think is quite entertaining. But I think to continue building this Shiori and Konami feud, I think it very much is going to be a Hate victory there.
Pretty much all my thoughts are absolutely right. I think Hate wins with the more important story as we're building to Shuri and Konami, which once that's done, if you're not doing anything with Shuri and Momo Watanabe, I wouldn't be hurt to see that maybe after Shuri beats Konami in that cage match, you made a great point that after that it's done and over with, maybe Momo jumps Shuri and then we go into a Shuri versus Momo Watanabe program. I don't think anybody would say no to that. The fact that we may get, and again, I know the main crux of this is Shuri versus Konami, and rightfully so. But I wouldn't hate, pun maybe intended, for Shuri and Momo Watanabe to throw down in this match. But I totally agree. This is going to be a Hate win.
Yeah. We've then got Suzu Suzuki versus Tomoka Inaba because we win this match. Let's be perfectly honest. Could this be the time limit draw? Potentially. Who knows? I am going to go Suzu, though.
Rob, I don't know where I'm going to go. The TLD does sound pretty tasty, but just to be different, I'm going to say Tomoka Inaba. But
that's a big win for Tomoka Inaba.
Yeah, and then maybe I tell you one thing, if she gets the win over Suzuki, I think maybe all of our prayers will be answered that she's officially signed, right? If they put Suzuki over, or they put Tomoka over Suzu, I think that's a pretty clear statement that she is signed. And if you kind of look at the way that, and I'm reading this card off the We Are Stardom um, Twitter page. They have, for example, they have like Starlight Kid, Mace Air, Neo Genesis, Kawaka, Pro Wrestling Wave. They have Azusa Inaba, JTO. On this little thing here, Tomoka Inaba, no affiliation. Not JTO, no affiliation. So again, maybe might be reading a little bit more into this than I should, but I think if Tomoka gets a win here or the TLD, I think it shows that she's signed. So I'm going to say Tomoka Inaba. Regardless, this match is going to be right up my alley and yours as well. Hard hitting, great action between these two great wrestlers.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be great. We then move on to the tag team match, Eye Contact versus O2 Line. Could this be the time limit draw? I am going to go... Oh, this is a tricky one, but I think I am going to go Eye Contact. Just because... Well, I don't know, Matt. Honestly,
I'm gonna talk you out of it. I'm about ready to talk you out of it. You ready?
No. Do you know what? No, I don't need you to. I am going to go O2 Line because I think Azumi's going to pin Hanan, and I think Azumi is then going to make the challenge official for the IWGP Women's Championship.
That's exactly what I was gonna say, my man. And she may even pin Mayu. I mean, if you're gonna go in, go all in, right? She already pinned her at the 5-star. Have her pin Mayu again, and then make it look like that's the really big challenge. But I agree. I think O2 Line gets the win here, and it's Azumi that gets the fall, regardless it's Mayu or Hanan. And that's gonna again, we have that big pay-per-view coming up in that Dolphins Arena. From what I was told, it's a 7,000 seat arena. Now, obviously, I don't think they're gonna fill it. I hope they do, but you need to stack that with some big matches. Why not have Mayu and Azumi as one of your big main events? And I think this is basically we're going to get the first challenge. I think as crazy as all these matches are, and they're tough to predict, and these last two matches are going to be it's tough to predict. I think this one's a little easier because it just makes sense for Azumi to get the win and then for her to challenge Mayu.
Yeah, fair enough.
These two matches should be in Sumo Hall, but I'm not complaining. These are big matches, dude. These are big matches. You want me to kind of do my spiel on the both of them, and then you can go.
I just want to ask one question before you do, Matt. Do I dare?
As many questions as once.
Do I dare let myself believe? Do I dare let myself believe that Hazuki has a chance?
Me and Andy, we did our tag team breakdown, and we always do a little chatting, like how me and you do, as we hit the record button. And I said, what do you think about these two title matches, considering the fact that you have two big stars and the two different members of Melt here holding the two biggest singles belts? They're both V0s, and these are matches that they can lose because of how fantastic Mike is and how much we want Hazuki. He thinks that Tam's winning, but he's very confident on a Hazuki win. I'm just letting you know, Andy Header did the Azumi, did a Hadouken. I got him to do the bear dance right before dive. He's on Hazuki. I don't know if that means anything. Just letting you know.
Look.
You okay over there?
You could really build another loss for Hazuki, couldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
But then... part of me just wants to believe that it's going to be Hazuki's turn. But it just seems so rushed. Like, they made a big deal of Hazuki saying she's going to win the white belt on her 10th anniversary of wrestling. Or during her 10th year. And then to just sort of, I don't know, cobble it all together in less than a week. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. I might just chicken out and say TLD. I mean, you've got the argument then that Hazuki's gotten even closer, and then you can do what they did with Mirai and Sayoriano and then run it back at Ryogoku. maybe that's what they do. I don't know, Matt. Help me.
I really can't. I mean, you asked me to help. Sorry, partner. This is what I'm going to say, and I don't know. And which is making this card so good. Not only going to be great matches, there's a lot of matches we don't know which way it's going to go. But I'm going to say this. Unfortunately, the wrestling fan base, especially the PWI 500 coming out today, Rob. I don't know if you know this. Sometimes they can be a little negative. Stardom is in a win-win lose-lose situation here because these two matches and this whole entire card is going to be great. People are going to be talking about it. Very much like the Wonder match, the World match. You have two big stars in Natsupoi and Tam, both on V0s. Both are challengers. Micah, we saw what she did with the red belt. Phenomenal job. Built back up. The only wrestler to ever go through the entire 5-star undefeated. So it's like, yeah, okay, we can see Micah winning the belt. But is it too soon? We've already saw Hot Potato with the red belt. We've been seeing Hot Potato with the Wonder belt. Hazuki, the people's champion, everybody wants to see win the Wonder belt. We know this match is going to be great. It might be too soon, right? Not too much of a build-up. So I see the points here. And again, folks, believe it or not, Tam Nakano is not my favorite wrestler in Stardom. I think she's great. My thing is that I want to see in Stardom, I said this to our longtime listeners, and I've said this 100 times, and I'm going to say it again. There's two main things I want to see in Stardom. Is one, I want to see them drawing money and doing the best they possibly can, and two, putting on the best matches. And that means for them to put on the best matches, they need to have the two big championships, well, all the championships, but especially the Wonder and World, those championships around two of the best wrestlers. I will say this. Tam Nakano is a bigger ticket seller than Micah. Not by much, though. But I'll say this on the other half of what I want to see in great matches. Micah, in my opinion, is a better wrestler than Tam Nakano. Again, not by much. So going by my theory, heads you win, tails you win. Natsupoi, in my opinion, is a bigger ticket draw than Hazuki. Not by much. Hazuki, in my opinion, is a better wrestler than Natsupoi. Not by much. So you literally have the same concept, at least in my eyes, for both these matches. Considering the fact that Natsupoi V0, Tam V0, going into these matches, I don't know how it's going to go. Where I'm going back with the fan base, is if Hazuki loses, the Hazuki fan base is going to be upset. Like, oh my God, she's 0 for 6. If Natsupoi loses, the Natsupoi fan base is going to be like, she finally got that belt after everything, and she loses the belt on the first try. What are we doing? Very much like the World match. Tam Nakano loses, they'll be like, she just got the belt. She lost all these matches in the 5-star. She came back. She won the belt against the big bad Tora. And now she loses to Micah? What the heck? Why wouldn't you just keep the belt on? This is what everybody's. Why wouldn't you just keep the belt on Micah regardless? She should have never lost to Tora if that's where we're going. However, if Micah loses, the Micah fan base is going to say, Micah went undefeated in the 5-star. Tam didn't win a match in the 5-star. So now the person that didn't have any wins is able to defeat the person that had all the wins in 2 weeks. So these matches are going to be great. The Natsupoi fan base, the Tam fan base, the Hazuki fan base, the Micah fan base, they all have claims if something doesn't go that way, right? And it's going to happen, folks. I know it's going to happen. Again, to me, all 4 of these wrestlers are great. I don't care which way it goes. I really, really don't. As much as I love Tam Nakano, this Micah title run that ended again too soon, if we're going to go right back into it, I am all for it. If we finally get that Hazuki run we've been waiting for, I am all for it. And if it comes at the expense of a Tam Nakano V0 and a Natsupoi V0, that's okay. I'm fine with it. And I made mention this a few weeks ago, that the championship divisions are so stacked that you can buy these quick title changes, because it just goes to show you that everybody on that top tier of Stardom is so good that any wrestler can beat any other wrestler on any given day. Now, Rob Goodwin, I put all that out there. With that being said, my official predictions, just because they're V0s, I'm going to say Natsupoi, and I'm going to say Tam. Or that main event may go the TLD. If there's going to be one TLD, I think it's going to be that main event. But I don't see any of these belts switching. I could be completely wrong. I don't know, which is really the beauty of this show, because I don't know which way these matches are going to go. The one thing I do know, both these matches are going to be absolutely fantastic. I don't see any way either of these matches are going to be any less than 4.5 stars. Considering the fact that we already have a loaded card, and then you're going to go into these matches that can be anywhere, in my opinion, to 4.5 stars to 5 stars. I just want great wrestling. If there's going to be a title change, or if there's going to be something, I just want it to make meaning. And these 4 wrestlers are good enough where we can have that happen. Again, I'm just going to say because it's a V0 that it's going to be Natsupoi winning. It's going to be Tam winning. I think you're going to do with Hazuki very much that we did with Tam with the white belt, and very much like we did with Julie with the red belt. They lose very early on, only to build themselves back up, and then to get the belt back. I think it is going to be Hazuki that does dethrone Natsupoi for the Wonder Belt, not just yet, whether it's at Ryogoku, whether it's at the anniversary show next year, whether it's some big show over here in the States, or whether Hazuki wins the Cinderella tournament and then wins it at All-Star Grand Queendom next year. That I don't know. Again, flip of a coin. I can't wait to watch this show, but I'm saying that there's no championships that change hands on this show. Can I be completely wrong? Can I go 1-for-1? Absolutely. But that is my official prediction, sir. So now, with all that being said, I'm going to tag you in. Mr. Goodwin, what do we got?
Micah versus Tam. Now, I mean, you've already sort of given your spiel there. It's another one that could go either way. I mean, it would be a very, very strange flipping of the red belt to then just put it back onto Micah. And we talked a little bit about this. It would be very much a case of why the whole tour experiment if it's only going to last a month, and then go on to Tam for less than a month, and then go back on to Micah. It doesn't make a lot of sense at all. The next pay-per-view is in Tam's hometown of Nagoya. So, I say hometown, home prefecture, sorry, of Aichi. It would make sense for Tam to be in the main event of that pay-per-view. Probably as the red belt champion. I am probably in agreement with you. And had I not used my time limit draw card on the Wonder of Stardom Championship, I could see this one going to the TLD as well. They're obviously not going to have both title matches go to a TLD, obviously. I'm going to go Tam to retain, but it would not surprise me if this goes 30 minutes, Tam and Micah. One thing that did surprise me, actually, Matt, and this was something I meant to bring up at the Korakuen review. Not one note of Tam's knee. No one touched it. What? We've just had an entire tournament where no one has done anything but destroy her knee. And now she's good as gold. Like, nothing's happened to it. So is that now just a thing that's not going to happen anymore?
I cured it. I know I'm grasping for straws. It was the elixir.
Look, I'm going to go with Tam. It's the only thing that I can possibly think of. I don't know how they're going to do it. We have got a very, very stacked card with this Namba Grand Fight show. We have got some really interesting directions that Stardom can go into. And I mean, whatever you think about the direction, whether it's too soon for Hazuki, whether it's too soon for the 5-star Grand Prix winner to be challenging Tam, especially so long, such a short time after she lost the red belt in the first place. What you can't deny is that it's bloody exciting. Like, it does feel very much like you are on something of a white knuckle roller coaster. And, I have no doubt that this pay-per-view is going to be wildly entertaining, whatever the results are. And I suppose we should probably do a review of it, Matt.
Yeah, I think we should. And considering the fact that I'm going to see Megadeth right before the show probably starts, so yeah, I'm going to be all sorts of pumped up on some thrash metal and some hard hitting wrestling action. But you know what, buddy? I agree. This card is it's worthy enough for me and you to do a review. Let's say same bat time, same bat channel next week, buddy. What do you think?
Love it. But before we go anywhere, Matt Turner, as we've neared 2 hours on this podcast somehow, I think it's a time we pay a visit to your neck of the woods, to the US of A, for a bit of Io and Kyrie watch.
Absolutely. And it's always shout out to my main man, Darren Chatton, for giving me the time cues. Again, Darren,
Darren,
Darren, Darren,
Darren.
Darren. Um, Kyrie was under concussion protocol after smacking her head off the table last week in that tag match. So we knew we weren't going to get much of Io and Kyrie, and really didn't. It was just basically a backstage segment that sets up Io and Kyrie versus the tag team champions of Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. My guess would be at the Bad Blood pay-per-view coming up here in about a month's time. So yeah, that was really about it, my man. So there's a you didn't even need the countdown on that one.
I didn't. That was quite impressive. I might just put it in anyway, just to see what happens. But yes, thank you very much. Darren, as always, thank you very much, my man. Massively appreciate it, as always. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to an end of our pay-per-view, what am I on about, of this episode. Join us next week where we will be reviewing the pay-per-view Namba Grand Fight. But in the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much to those of you that have subscribed to our Patreon. We can't thank you enough. Your support means everything. If you haven't already, could you consider maybe leaving us a 5-star review and a comment if you think that we have earned it? It really does help the podcast be exposed to more people. If you haven't already, check out the website as well, www.thestardomcast.com. If you haven't already and you want to hear these episodes early and ad-free for as little as $1 a month, you can sign up to our Patreon, patreon.com/the Stardomcast. You can check us out on all of our socials at the Stardomcast. You can talk to me on Twitter as well at RealRobGoodwin. Keep an eye out for the schedule of all of our released episodes coming this Sunday for the following week, and then hopefully from there that will become a weekly thing, dropping on a Sunday. Matt, sounds off, good sir.
Folks, questions, comments, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and or the Twitter is the best way to get a hold of me. The email address, if you want to shoot me an email, is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. And folks, that's going to wrap it up for another fun-filled episode. Hope you appreciate it and enjoyed it as much as me and the Terminator, Rob Goodwin, did, folks. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do it without you. It's like I always say, it's just not my podcast. It's our podcast, because we're all together and everyone's different. Everyone's special.